If she friendzones you, do this, she'll be all over you. Stoic life lessons. Stoicism. True love is about standing together when things are tough. It's about showing up, not because it's easy, but because it's right. In a world full of distractions, it's easy to forget the power of resilience and unwavering commitment. In today's video, we're diving deep into the story of Jack, an ordinary man whose Stoic principles helped him endure life's toughest challenges. His journey with his wife Emma, who faced a serious illness, reveals the timeless power of love rooted in strength, patience, and perseverance. This is the essence of modern Stoic philosophy, where trials are met with unwavering resolve. Welcome to Win Stoic, where we explore how embracing Stoic principles can lead you to victory in life. Let's get started. Number 1. Stop being her emotional support system. The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. Skillful pilots gain their reputation from storms and tempests. Epictetus. In today's world, where instant gratification reigns and emotions are often quickly soothed by temporary distractions, many men find themselves unknowingly trapped in the friend zone. They have been there for her in her most vulnerable moments, offered a listening ear when she was stressed, reassured her during tough times, and been the emotional support system she needed. But here's the tough reality. Doing this does not create attraction. In fact, it does the opposite. Women, like all people, are inherently drawn to excitement, unpredictability, and the unknown. If you constantly position yourself as someone who is always available, someone she can rely on without fail, you may believe you're doing the right thing, but in truth, you're creating emotional dependency. Think about it. When you are constantly there to listen to her complaints, give her emotional support, and offer reassurance whenever she's upset, you reinforce a single dangerous idea in her mind. He's always here for me. On the surface, this may seem noble and kind, but this level of predictability is the antithesis of what sparks attraction. Attraction thrives on excitement and challenge, not comfort and reliability. When you make yourself too accessible, you become just another predictable part of her routine, a dependable friend, but ultimately forgettable in terms of romantic interest. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that life is about resilience and perseverance in the face of adversity. It encourages us to maintain control over our emotions, particularly when faced with challenges. Applying this to your situation, when you remove yourself from the role of emotional caretaker, you demonstrate the qualities of strength, independence, and respect for your own time and energy. You are no longer just the guy who is always there to pick up the pieces, but rather someone who values his own emotional well-being and doesn't allow his sense of self-worth to be tied to her approval or neediness. In doing so, you raise your own value in her eyes. Think about what happens when you start pulling back. You stop being the one who drops everything when she calls. You don't always respond to her texts immediately. You don't show up every time she needs a shoulder to cry on. What happens is that the space you create allows her to start feeling your absence, and with that absence comes desire. The more distant you become, the more she will start to wonder about you. She'll wonder why you aren't around as much. She'll start to realize what she's missing. And that's when the shift begins. The very thing that used to make you predictable, your availability, will now make you intriguing. The more she has to work to get your attention, the more she will crave it. This is where the power of Stoicism truly comes into play. Stoic life lessons are not just about maintaining calm in the face of adversity. They are about cultivating a life of emotional independence and creating boundaries that allow for growth and mutual respect in relationships. By stepping back, you begin to show her that your time and emotional energy are precious, not to be squandered or taken for granted. This behavior forces her to re-evaluate the dynamic of the relationship. She will begin to see you not as a safety net, but as someone who is worth pursuing. When you reclaim your emotional independence and stop being her emotional crutch, you start to exhibit the qualities that will make you more desirable. You become the kind of man who doesn't need her validation, and that alone makes you more attractive. Women, in particular, value a man who has control over his emotions, who isn't desperate for attention, and who is comfortable in his own skin. This behavior shows that you have your own life, your own interests, and your own goals. When she sees this, she will respect you more, and that respect will naturally turn into attraction. Remember, as the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely said, "It's not the circumstances that shape us, but how we respond to them." The friend zone, as frustrating as it may be, is just a circumstance. It's your response to that situation that defines your future outcomes. By applying these Stoic principles and reclaiming your emotional independence, you transform yourself from the friend she takes for granted into the man she wants to be with. By removing yourself as her emotional safety net and focusing on your own growth and well-being, you shift the power dynamic in your favor. You stop being the backup plan and become the prize. This is the essence of Stoic life lessons: to control what you can control, to remain grounded, and to demand the respect you deserve, not only in romantic relationships, but in all aspects of life. The way you respond to the challenges of life and love ultimately defines who you are. And by choosing to take a step back, prioritize yourself, and make her work for your affection, you'll shift the dynamic of your relationship, and possibly your entire life, forever. This is the power of Stoicism in action. When you stop being her emotional support system and start valuing yourself, you're not just setting the stage for a stronger relationship, you're also setting yourself up for success in all areas of your life. The lessons you learn here will guide you to win, not just in love, but in everything you do. This is the Win Stoic way, mastering your emotions, your boundaries, and your self-worth to create the life and the relationships you desire. Number 2, create emotional distance and trigger jealousy. In the journey of personal growth, especially when navigating relationships, one valuable Stoic life lesson is to create emotional distance and let others see your worth without putting yourself on a pedestal. If you're stuck in the friend zone, this could be the game changer. The key is to understand that jealousy, in a healthy and non-manipulative way, can often trigger a shift in perspective. It's not about being toxic or trying to play games with someone's feelings, but about creating the kind of emotional space that allows her to realize what she's been taking for granted. As a high-value man, you need to make her question why she's not the center of your world anymore. Suddenly, she'll start reassessing everything. Most men, especially those in the friend zone, tend to pour all their emotional energy into one person, becoming overly available, overly eager, and too invested. While it may seem like the right thing to do at the time, it actually does the opposite of what you want. The more you give, the less she feels the need to reciprocate. When you're always there for her, there's no sense of longing, no feeling of missing out. She doesn't have to wonder about you or question if she could lose you. The result? No urgency, no attraction. But here's the turning point. When she begins to feel your absence, when she sees you shifting your attention elsewhere, that's when things start to change. Have you ever noticed how someone starts to value something more once it's not so easily accessible? It's the same with relationships. When she feels the space you've created, it stirs a sense of loss, and loss often brings about desire. Think about this. Have you ever wanted something just because you couldn't have it? That desire you feel when something is slightly out of reach is powerful. Now, imagine that energy directed toward you. The key here isn't to act aloof or to purposefully ignore her, but rather to balance your attention and give her a glimpse into the possibility that you're a man who has choices, a man who values himself and his time. It's a subtle shift in energy that makes her see you as a high-value individual, someone who isn't always available, someone who is focused on his own life and pursuits. This emotional distance forces her to evaluate her feelings and interests. And don't think of it as a manipulative tactic. Think of it as embracing a Stoic mindset, controlling your own reactions and not letting others dictate your emotional state. So, how can you start? It's about being a bit less available. Invest your time and energy in your passions, hobbies, and social circles. Show her that your world doesn't revolve around her. Give yourself the space to be the high-value man that you are, and let her wonder why you're no longer putting her on a pedestal. When you create that space, she'll have the chance to reflect and, in many cases, realize how much she values your presence. In the end, the message is simple. Never give someone all your emotional energy, and always make sure you maintain a sense of independence. High-value men don't chase. They let their value speak for itself. Remember, it's not about playing games, it's about understanding your own worth and making sure that others see it too. So next time you feel yourself over-investing in someone, ask yourself, are you giving away too much of yourself? Are you creating an environment where the other person has no reason to appreciate your presence? Take a step back, recenter, and watch how things change. The true lesson here is that by creating emotional space, you allow the opportunity for respect and attraction to flourish naturally. Keep your emotional energy in check, and you'll become the man she never knew she needed. If you've made it this far, you've truly learned the power of self-respect and the art of creating emotional distance. Leave a comment with the phrase, "Create distance, attract interest," to show your commitment to implementing these strategies in your life. Number 3, stop being so accessible. If you're finding yourself stuck in the friend zone, it's time to reassess how you're presenting yourself to her. One of the most important shifts you can make is to stop being so accessible. I know it sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? After all, you've probably been the guy who responds immediately to her texts, drops everything when she asks to hang out, and always says yes when she needs something. But here's the thing, by doing this, you're sending a clear message, even if you don't realize it. You're telling her that you have nothing else going on in your life, and that you're always available for her, no matter the circumstances. In other words, you're showing her that your time is abundant and that she can take it for granted. But here's the secret. When you stop being so easily accessible, you start valuing your time and your own life more. Think about it. Have you ever been more attracted to someone who's always there for you versus someone who has their own life, their own plans, and isn't constantly waiting around? I'm willing to bet that it's the latter. This is the core of the Stoic mindset, understanding the value of your own time and not letting it be dictated by anyone else. By setting boundaries and prioritizing your own life, you're showing her that you're not just a backup option or a safety net. You're someone who has his own passions, goals, and desires. Here's where it gets even more powerful. Let her see you giving your attention to other women. Now, before you panic, this doesn't mean you need to fake interest or make her jealous. The goal isn't to play games, but to allow her to see that other people find you valuable and worthy of their attention. Have you ever seen someone who's in high demand and thought, wow, they must be really special? That's exactly what you're doing here. You're making yourself less accessible, and by doing so, you're creating an aura of desirability. This subtle shift can make her reassess her feelings toward you, because suddenly she sees you as someone who has choices, someone who is highly valued, and not just a guy who's always waiting for her call. The idea here is to embrace Stoic happiness, which isn't about constantly seeking approval or attention from others, but about cultivating your own self-worth and happiness, independent of external validation. As the great philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you stop waiting around and start living your life with intention, you'll notice that your own happiness becomes the most attractive thing about you. You won't need to chase her, you'll be too busy living a fulfilling life on your own. Isn't that the kind of person you'd want to be around? Someone who is strong, independent, and content with who they are without needing to rely on others to define their worth. So start setting boundaries, say no when necessary, and prioritize your life over constantly making yourself available to her. The more you create space for yourself, the more you'll let her see your value, and that, my friend, is how you shift from being stuck in the friend zone to becoming someone she truly desires. Number 4, get comfortable walking away. In the world of dating and relationships, many men find themselves stuck in the friend zone, feeling as though they are constantly giving without receiving anything in return. The fear of losing her often keeps men trapped in this cycle, thinking that if they stop being available, she will forget about them. But here's the hard truth: neediness is one of the most unattractive traits you can display. As the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." You see, when you constantly put yourself at her disposal, when you make yourself always available and at her beck and call, you are giving her control over your emotional state. This is a dangerous dynamic that will only lead to frustration and dissatisfaction. When a woman knows you will always be there for her, no matter how she treats you, it diminishes your value in her eyes. She may rely on you, but she will never truly respect you, and without respect, there can be no attraction. Attraction isn't built on dependability alone, it is built on respect, admiration, and the ability to stand on your own. This is where the wisdom of Stoic life lessons comes into play. You must respect yourself enough to be willing to walk away. The solution is simple, yet powerful: get comfortable with walking away. And no, this doesn't mean playing games or trying to manipulate her into chasing you. It means recognizing your own worth and refusing to settle for a one-sided relationship. When you approach the situation with respect for yourself, you remove the desperation from the equation. Tell her, "Hey, I value our friendship, but I'm looking for something more in my life. It wouldn't be fair to either of us if I pretended I'm okay with something I'm not." By expressing this, you are not only being honest with her, but you are also asserting your boundaries in a way that is healthy and respectful. After you've had this conversation, step back. Stop texting first. Stop making yourself the backup plan when she's bored or when things don't work out with other guys. Redirect your energy towards yourself, your goals, and your life. Focus on what brings you fulfillment. The more you focus on yourself, the more you will realize that you do not need her approval to feel complete. Here's the key: if she truly values you, she won't just let you walk away. She'll recognize your worth and realize that she stands to lose something truly valuable. This is the moment when the dynamic shifts. She will start to see you in a new light, no longer as a safety net, but as a man who commands respect and who is not afraid to walk away from something that doesn't serve him. And let's be honest, no woman likes the idea of losing a man who is truly worth having. When you stop being the one who is always there for her, you create space for her to realize your value. You show her that you are not defined by her attention or approval. You are a man with purpose, with a life outside of her. This is where the Stoic mindset truly shines. Stoicism teaches us to be emotionally self-sufficient, to not let external circumstances define our happiness or sense of worth. By focusing on your own life and walking away when necessary, you're practicing Stoic happiness, the happiness that comes from within, not from validation or external sources. The more you align yourself with Stoic principles, the more you'll recognize that your own well-being and happiness should never depend on someone else's approval. This shift in mindset will not only help you break free from the friend zone, but it will also empower you to live a more fulfilling and balanced life. Remember, as the Stoics believed, we cannot control the actions of others, but we can always control our response. And by walking away when needed, you're showing her and yourself that you value your own happiness and self-respect above all else. When you adopt this approach, you will win not only in love but in life. This is the essence of the Win Stoic philosophy, taking control of your emotions, valuing yourself, and becoming the man you were always meant to be. Number 5. Let her see you upgrade. Let's face it, getting friend-zoned is a tough pill to swallow. The truth is, she didn't choose you because deep down, she didn't see you as the best option. That may sting, but don't let it drag you down. Instead, use that pain as motivation to level up and become the man she can't ignore. As the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." So, instead of wallowing in self-pity or wasting time trying to convince her to like you, focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Hit the gym, improve your wardrobe, and start hanging out with new people. Find a passion that lights you up, something that brings real meaning to your life, independent of her. It's about cultivating a life that you are proud of, a life that she won't be able to resist taking a second look at. The key to breaking free from the friend zone isn't by chasing after her, it's by focusing on your own growth and transformation. When you start investing in yourself, you'll notice something powerful happening. You begin to thrive without her. And when she sees you thriving, looking better, feeling better, and most importantly, being pursued by other women, that's when the switch flips in her mind. Because now, you're no longer the guy who's always available for her. You become the guy she overlooked, the guy she could lose. Suddenly, she realizes the value you bring, and that's when she'll come chasing after you. But here's where the Stoic mindset really makes a difference. Rather than trying to manipulate the situation or force her hand, you focus on controlling what's within your power, your actions, your decisions, and your emotional state. As you shift your focus inward and start living a life full of purpose, the need for validation from her starts to fade. You'll find that your worth doesn't depend on her approval, and that's when the real magic happens. This isn't just about her. This is about you, learning to live your life with intention, becoming the man you want to be, regardless of the outcome. So, stop chasing. Instead, become the man who has everything to offer, a man who is already content and fulfilled on his own. As you do this, you begin to radiate confidence, and that's the energy that will eventually attract her. The moment she sees you thriving without her, She'll realize that she made a mistake by not choosing you before, and when that happens, she'll start chasing you. But at that point, you'll be the one calling the shots. This is the essence of Stoic life lessons: personal growth, emotional independence, and the understanding that your happiness is not tied to anyone else's approval. When you stop being defined by someone else's opinion and start living authentically, you begin to win, not just in your relationships, but in every aspect of life. This is the power of the Win Stoic philosophy: cultivating a life that you're proud of, creating value in yourself, and standing firm in your own worth. When you do this, you won't have to chase after anyone. Instead, they'll come to you because they'll see you as someone who is truly worth having. If you've made it this far in the video, I encourage you to comment, "Upgrade yourself." Number 6. Set boundaries and stick to them. One important Stoic life lesson that every high-value man should practice is the art of setting boundaries and sticking to them. As the great philosopher Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This is especially vital if you find yourself trapped in the friend zone. If you've been the person someone leans on emotionally or treats as a fallback option, it's time to reassess your position. You must start by defining what you will and won't tolerate in your relationships. Have you ever noticed how easily people start taking you for granted when you're always there for them, no matter what? It's because they don't feel the need to respect your time and energy when they know you always show up without question. As a high-value man, you need to take control of your time and emotional energy. "He who is not a good servant will not be a good master," said Seneca. This means that you must master yourself before you can expect others to respect you. It's crucial to respect yourself enough to walk away when necessary. This isn't about being cold or distant, but about understanding your worth and ensuring others see it too. When you set clear boundaries, you show the other person that your time, energy, and affection are valuable. And here's the interesting part: by enforcing these boundaries consistently, you not only demand respect, but you also create a space where attraction can grow. Think about this. Have you ever been drawn to someone who didn't chase after you or overextend themselves? Chances are their independence and strength made them more appealing. As Marcus Aurelius wisely put it, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. When you stop overextending yourself, you're shifting your focus toward cultivating a life of your own, one that doesn't revolve around another person. It's the same in relationships. The moment you stop making yourself so available, the moment you stop bending to someone's whims, they'll start to notice your absence and will begin to question what they're missing. It's simple. People value what they can't always have. So, instead of being the emotional crutch someone relies on, focus on being the high-value man who knows his worth and enforces boundaries that protect his time and emotional energy. This is something that the Stoics understood well. Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not. When you stop giving everything away, you'll create a space that allows you to focus on what's truly important: yourself. When you do this, you'll naturally attract more respect and potentially more interest than you ever imagine. In the end, the lesson is clear. Setting boundaries isn't just about keeping others at arm's length. It's about showing yourself the respect you deserve, and in doing so, teaching others to treat you with that same level of respect. This is a key principle for high-value men. Your boundaries are a reflection of your self-respect, and that respect is what ultimately leads to genuine attraction. By embracing this Stoic life lesson, you're not only creating healthier relationships, but also shaping a life of strength, independence, and purpose. The friend zone isn't about luck. It's about perception. Women don't friend zone men because they're not good enough. They do it because they don't feel that raw, undeniable pull. But the moment you shift the energy, the moment you become less available, more mysterious, and undeniably high value, that's when everything changes. Now she has to work for your attention, your time, and when that happens, she won't just want to be your friend anymore. She'll want something a whole lot more. This is the Stoic Guide. Until next time, stay sharp, stay aware, and never let yourself be anyone's second choice. 9. Additional insights to become irresistible. In a challenging world, relationships between men and women are sometimes not simple. Situations like being friend-zoned, being considered a friend, are something that many guys have to face, making them feel helpless and painful. However, the important thing is that being friend-zoned is not always the end. In fact, this can be a challenge and an opportunity for you to prove your worth. Through this article, we will learn ways to escape the friend zone and become the person she really wants to be with. Number 1. Work on building inner confidence. If you've ever found yourself stuck in the friend zone, you probably know how frustrating it feels to be constantly overlooked despite offering your time and attention. The truth is, if she doesn't see you as more than just a friend, it may come down to how you view yourself. True confidence isn't about seeking validation from others. It's something that comes from within. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Simply put, how you perceive yourself directly impacts how others see you. If you constantly seek approval from the outside world, you'll never feel truly confident. On the other hand, when you develop inner confidence, you start radiating a magnetic energy that draws people to you, including her. She'll begin to see you in a completely new light. It's about recognizing your own worth, independent of anyone else's judgment. The more secure you are in your identity, your values, your principles, and how you carry yourself, the more irresistible you become, not just to her, but to everyone around you. This is where Stoic life lessons come into play. By focusing on your internal world and strengthening your self-respect, you become someone who is not defined by others. You're no longer seeking praise or reassurance. You're content with who you are. And that sense of self-assuredness makes you magnetic. This mindset shift doesn't just apply to romantic relationships. It transforms every aspect of your life. When you build self-worth from within, you naturally attract the right people and the right opportunities. By embracing this mindset and living with integrity, you align with the principles of a win Stoic, someone who knows that true confidence comes from within and not from external approval. So focus on building that inner confidence and watch as it changes how people perceive you, not just her, but everyone you interact with. When you stop needing validation and start embracing your own worth, that's when you'll see the real transformation in your relationships and life. Number 2, master the art of conversation. When it comes to building attraction, mastering the art of conversation is one of the most powerful tools you can have in your arsenal. Think about it. Have you ever been captivated by someone's words, someone who knew how to engage you, keep the conversation flowing, and make you think? That's the type of energy you want to bring to the table. But let's be clear, it's not about dominating the conversation or just listening passively. You need to be the guy who shares insightful thoughts, asks interesting questions, and challenges her ideas in a respectful way. That's how you create a connection that goes beyond the surface. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, the greatest wealth is a wealthy soul, meaning that a person with a wealth of ideas, experiences, and understanding is someone who can hold meaningful conversations. When you can hold an engaging conversation, you're showcasing your depth, your intellect, and your ability to think critically, and these are all qualities that will make you more attractive. Now, why is this so important? Well, think about the people you're most drawn to in life. What makes them magnetic? Chances are, they're not just repeating the same tired lines or saying things to simply pass the time. They're contributing something valuable. They make you think, make you feel, and spark your curiosity. That's the type of conversation you should strive for. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect, but it does mean that when you speak, you want to be intentional and add something meaningful. Take a moment to think about your past conversations with people you've admired. Did they listen and challenge your thoughts? Did they offer unique perspectives that made you feel more connected to them? That's the kind of impact you should aim for. In the dating world, this type of interaction has a magnetic effect. When she feels that spark in your conversations, when she's genuinely engaged and mentally stimulated, her view of you will shift. She'll start to see you as someone interesting, someone who adds value to her life, not just as another guy trying to get her attention. In modern life, think about high-value men, the ones who are well-respected in their communities or industries. It's not just their looks or their financial success that makes them stand out. It's their ability to hold meaningful conversations, to connect with people on a deeper level. You may have noticed that these men often seem to have women, friends and colleagues alike drawn to them. Why? Because they've mastered the art of communication. They don't just talk, they engage, they challenge, and they create an environment where everyone feels heard and valued. So, how can you apply this in your own life? Start by paying attention to the conversations you have daily. Are you just going through the motions, or are you actively contributing to the exchange? Ask yourself, how can I add value to this conversation? When you start shifting your focus to engaging discussions that are thoughtful, respectful, and interesting, you'll start to notice how your interactions change. People, especially women, will start to see you in a new light. As a high-value man, you are someone who isn't just filling silence, you're filling it with meaning. The lesson here is simple: master the art of conversation, and you'll not only become a better communicator, but you'll also become more attractive. When you can keep a conversation interesting and challenge her in a thoughtful way, she'll begin to see you as someone worth investing her time in. And that's the shift that could take you from the friend zone to a much deeper, more meaningful relationship. Comment, I am ready to communicate effectively, to show that you are taking the first step towards becoming a better communicator every day. Number 3, cultivate a mysterious aura. When it comes to attraction, there's something powerful about mystery. People, especially women, are naturally drawn to it. Think about the most captivating people you've met in your life. Did they reveal everything about themselves all at once? Or did they leave you with just enough to keep you intrigued, wondering more about them? This is exactly the dynamic you want to create. If you're always available and show every detail of your life too early, the attraction starts to fade. It's like a good story. If you give away the ending too soon, the rest of it doesn't seem as interesting. As the Stoic philosopher Heraclitus once said, character is destiny. You create your own story, and part of that story is letting people be curious about who you are. When you hold back just enough about yourself, it builds intrigue. You don't have to be secretive or deceptive, just don't lay everything out for her right away. Let her work to discover more about you. This creates a dynamic where she starts to wonder, who is this guy? What's he really like? What's his story? The Stoic mindset teaches us that there is power in maintaining control, not just over our actions, but over our emotions and how we present ourselves. In today's world, we're often conditioned to overshare on social media, to make everything accessible, to leave nothing hidden. But what if we took a different approach? What if we allowed a little mystery to remain and let others fill in the gaps? The result can be captivating. When you don't let her fully figure you out, her curiosity and desire begin to grow. This is a form of Stoic happiness, the kind that comes from not needing validation, but instead from keeping your sense of self intact and maintaining an aura of intrigue that others want to explore. Ask yourself, how often do I reveal too much too soon? Consider your interactions carefully. Are you leaving enough to the imagination? Are you cultivating a sense of mystery that invites curiosity, or are you making yourself too available? This subtle shift in your behavior could make all the difference. And by keeping a little distance and not being too eager to share everything, you allow the natural attraction to build. It's not about playing games, it's about recognizing that mystery, paired with a solid sense of self, creates an undeniable allure that makes you stand out. Number 4. Improve your body language. If you've ever found yourself wondering why some men seem to effortlessly command attention while others fade into the background, it's often not about what they're saying, but how they're saying it. One of the most powerful tools you have at your disposal is body language, and believe me, it speaks louder than any words ever could. You see, body language has the incredible ability to convey confidence, authority, and attraction without you uttering a single word. Just think about the last time you were in a room with someone who stood tall, maintained strong eye contact, and had an open, welcoming posture. How did that make you feel? Chances are you probably felt drawn to them without fully understanding why. That's the magic of nonverbal communication, and it's something high-value men understand deeply. It's not just about looking good or making a flashy entrance. It's about projecting strength, confidence, and self-assuredness from the inside out. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." This isn't just a call to enjoy life. It's a reminder that you hold control over how you present yourself, which ultimately shapes how others perceive you. Now, ask yourself, when you walk into a room, what message does your body language send? Are you hunched over, avoiding eye contact and closing yourself off from the world around you? Or do you stand tall, shoulders back, and look people in the eye as you engage with them? Believe it or not, how you carry yourself can make or break a connection. If you're not actively aware of your posture, gestures, or the way you move through space, you might be inadvertently sending signals that undermine the confidence you want to project. Take a moment to consider how a high-value man moves through the world. He's not looking for validation, he knows his worth, and his body language reflects that. He doesn't have to tell everyone he's confident because his actions and presence do all the talking. This, my friend, is the essence of Stoic life lessons, projecting an inner sense of calm and strength and being grounded in who you are without needing to shout it from the rooftops. You may be asking yourself, but how do I improve my body language? Well, it starts with small adjustments that make a big difference. Standing tall, shoulders back, and head held high communicates that you're confident, and people will naturally take notice. Eye contact is another game changer. It's a sign of respect and attentiveness, and it's a way to establish rapport without saying a word. And don't forget your posture. When you stand with an open posture, you show the world that you're approachable and open to new connections. These small yet significant changes in how you present yourself can have a profound impact on how others perceive you, especially in the context of romantic relationships. If you're constantly closed off or avoiding eye contact, she may interpret that as insecurity, which is a major turnoff. But if you walk into a room with confidence, eyes locked, and posture open, you're not just showing confidence. You're demonstrating that you are someone who is comfortable in your own skin, and that's undeniably attractive. Take a moment to reflect on a man who exudes confidence. What's his body language like? How does he move, stand, and engage with others? Now, ask yourself, how can I start to incorporate some of these qualities into my own life? High-value men don't just talk the talk, they walk the walk. They project an air of confidence and calm simply by being themselves, and that's something you can do too. This doesn't mean you need to be perfect or put on a facade. Instead, it's about aligning your internal self with your external presence. When you improve your body language, you're not just changing how others see you. You're also shifting the way you see yourself. As you become more aware of the power of body language, you'll naturally begin to feel more confident and self-assured. And when you begin to carry yourself with that kind of confidence, it will open doors to new opportunities, deeper relationships, and a more fulfilling life. The lesson here is clear. Body language is an incredibly powerful tool that high-value men use to communicate their confidence and purpose. By standing tall, making eye contact, and adopting an open posture, you can project strength and charisma that will make people take notice, especially women. As you develop these small habits, you'll not only shift how others perceive you, but you'll also begin to embody the Stoic mindset of calm, self-assured confidence. Remember, it's not just about what you say, it's about how you say it. And in many cases, the best way to say something is by saying nothing at all. Number 5. Be passionate about something. One of the most powerful things that can make you stand out in a world full of distractions and noise is having a deep sense of passion for something. A man who has purpose is always more attractive. Think about it. When you meet someone who is fully engaged in something, whether it's their career, a hobby, or personal growth, don't they seem more magnetic? They have an energy about them, something that draws people in. And here's the secret. When she sees you deeply immersed in something meaningful, she won't be able to help but feel that same pull. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." In other words, being truly engaged in something that matters to you keeps your focus sharp and your purpose clear. When you're focused on your goals, your passions, and your growth, you create an aura of confidence and determination that others find hard to ignore. And this isn't just about impressing her. It's about being a man who is self-sufficient, who doesn't rely on external validation to feel fulfilled. How often do you take time to ask yourself, what excites me? What truly motivates me? Think about the things in life that make you feel alive. Those are the things that define your character and shape how others see you. Whether it's mastering a skill, climbing the career ladder, or improving your fitness. When you're engaged in something that stirs your soul, you start to radiate an energy that will naturally draw people towards you. This is the essence of Stoic happiness. It's about finding joy in the pursuit of things that matter to you, not relying on others to bring that happiness into your life. So, if you find yourself stuck in the friend zone, remember that she's not just attracted to your looks or your kindness. She's attracted to your passion, to the fire that burns inside you. When you invest in yourself, grow, and pursue what excites you, you'll become the kind of man who commands attention without even trying. When she sees you fully immersed in something meaningful, she'll naturally want to be a part of your world. This is the Stoic mindset in action, prioritizing personal growth and purpose, and living in a way that radiates self-respect and confidence. Number 6. Take care of your appearance. One of the most powerful ways to increase your attractiveness and build confidence isn't just about what you say or how you act. It's about how you present yourself to the world. Taking care of your appearance is a crucial part of how you communicate your value to others. Looking good isn't about being overly fashionable or wearing the latest trends. It's about putting in the effort to present yourself in a way that reflects self-respect. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." But the truth is, the way you present yourself physically also speaks volumes about your internal mindset. Grooming, dressing appropriately, and taking care of your health are all ways to show not only the world, but also yourself, that you value who you are. It's an expression of self-respect. When you take the time to look your best, you project confidence and strength, qualities that are undeniably attractive. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how someone who takes care of their appearance immediately stands out in a crowd? They don't have to say much. Their well-groomed appearance does the talking. It makes a lasting impression and sets the tone for how others will perceive them. In modern life, this is even more important. We live in a world where first impressions matter, and how you present yourself can often be the deciding factor in whether or not someone takes you seriously. When you take pride in your grooming, wear clothes that fit well, and maintain your health, you demonstrate that you respect yourself, and that makes you more attractive to others, especially women. So, what's the message here? The Stoic life lessons teach us that self-respect starts from within and extends outward. If you want to attract the right people into your life, the first step is to ensure that you're presenting your best self to the world. Take care of your appearance, not for others, but for yourself. When you look good and feel good, your confidence will shine through, and that will leave a lasting impression wherever you go. That's the essence of a win Stoic, someone who values themselves enough to show the world their best version. Number 7. Be independent and self-sufficient. One of the most powerful things you can do in a relationship is to be independent and self-sufficient. A man who can take care of himself, who doesn't rely on others for his happiness, is incredibly attractive. This idea is central to a Stoic life lesson, focusing on building inner strength rather than relying on others for fulfillment. When you're independent, you create space for the other person to see you as a potential partner rather than just a friend. Think about the high-value men you respect. They don't seek validation from others. They focus on their own growth, their own goals, and their own well-being. This mindset makes them not only more attractive, but also more intriguing. It's not about being perfect or having everything together, but about living a life that's grounded in your own values and purpose. So, why is independence so crucial? Because when you rely on yourself for happiness, it changes the dynamic of your relationships. You stop being desperate for attention and validation, which is often a turn-off. Instead, you become someone who is already complete, someone who doesn't need the approval of others to feel good about himself. This makes people, especially women, take notice. Let's look at a real-life example. Picture a guy named Jake. He's been friends with Sarah for years. He's always been there for her, offering advice, comfort, and emotional support. But she never saw him as anything more than a friend. Jake realized he was putting too much of his energy into seeking Sarah's approval. So, he made a change. He started focusing on his career, his health, his hobbies, and his personal growth. Over time, he became more emotionally independent and self-sufficient. He wasn't constantly calling her or seeking her validation anymore. When they did talk, it was about his personal progress and his goals. Sarah began noticing the shift. Jake was no longer needy or dependent on her for emotional support. He was living his own life, and that made him more appealing. Eventually, Sarah started to see Jake as more than just a friend. She found herself drawn to him in ways she hadn't before. What changed? It was Jake's newfound independence that changed everything. He wasn't trying to impress her anymore. He was just living his life, and that caught her attention. This story shows us a valuable lesson. Independence makes you more attractive, not just in romantic relationships, but in life in general. The Stoic life lesson here is to focus on yourself and don't rely on others to validate your worth. When you do that, you become a high-value man who is emotionally self-sufficient, and when you're emotionally independent, you attract people who appreciate you for who you really are. So take a moment to reflect. Are you relying on others to make you feel happy, or are you creating your own happiness? Are you living your life for yourself, or are you constantly looking for others' approval? By embracing independence, you'll not only improve your relationships, but also become the best version of yourself. That's the power of being a high-value man. The choice is yours. Take control of your life, focus on your growth, and watch how your relationships evolve for the better. Comment, "I commit to independence and self-sufficiency," is not just a phrase. It's a personal declaration. Number 8. Be genuine and authentic. When it comes to relationships, authenticity is one of the most attractive qualities a man can possess. Let's face it, pretending to be someone you're not might work in the short term, but it will always backfire in the end. People, especially women, are naturally drawn to those who are genuine. Why? Because authenticity builds trust and respect. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely stated, "Be not deceived, for we are often deceived by the appearance of things." This rings true in relationships. When you pretend to be something you're not, you create a facade that may deceive her in the moment, but it doesn't create a strong foundation for a lasting connection. People value realness over perfection, and when you embrace your true self, quirks and all, it shows that you're secure in who you are. This security naturally fosters attraction because it signals confidence, and confidence is incredibly magnetic. In modern life, especially in the age of social media, it's easy to get caught up in trying to present a version of yourself that others expect to see. You might think that by showing a polished or idealized version of yourself, you'll gain the approval of others. But in reality, this creates an invisible wall between you and anyone who truly matters. Have you ever felt like someone was just trying too hard to impress? Maybe they were constantly exaggerating their achievements or pretending to be something they weren't. Did it make you trust them more or less? Most likely, it made you feel distant, unsure, or even turned off by them. Authenticity, on the other hand, creates a sense of warmth and approachability that draws people in. When you embrace who you truly are, without the need for validation, you send a powerful message, not just to her, but to everyone you meet. You're comfortable in your own skin, and that is extremely attractive. Being genuine doesn't mean you need to bare your soul to every person you meet, but it does mean being honest about who you are and what you stand for. It's about being true to your values and not compromising them just to please someone else. Whether it's in your career, your hobbies, or your relationships, authenticity strengthens your character. It's easy to fall into the trap of trying to meet other people's expectations, but this only leads to burnout and frustration. Think about the relationships in your life that have lasted. Chances are they're with people who value you for who you truly are, not who you pretend to be. If you're always trying to be someone else, you're not giving her the chance to see the real you. Instead, you're inviting her to fall for an illusion. This idea of authenticity is at the heart of Stoic life lessons. Don't waste energy trying to be someone you're not, because true contentment comes from living in accordance with your real self. It's about being comfortable with your flaws, your strengths, and everything in between. High-value men understand this. They know that their worth comes from within, not from pretending to be someone else. When you embrace this mentality, you not only start to attract the right people into your life, but you also start to live more freely, without the pressure of needing to be someone else. This is the essence of Stoic happiness, living authentically and finding peace in the truth of who you are. So, if you've been struggling with how to attract someone or how to get out of the friend zone, start by asking yourself, am I being authentic? Are you trying to impress her with an image of yourself that isn't entirely true? If so, it's time to stop. The best version of yourself is the one that doesn't need to try too hard or put on a mask. When you are true to who you are, it builds trust, creates respect, and most importantly, it draws the right people to you. This is the true path to success in relationships. A win Stoic is a man who embraces his authentic self. And when you do the same, you'll see how much more meaningful and fulfilling your connections can be. Number 9, be respectful of her boundaries. When it comes to relationships, respecting her boundaries is absolutely crucial. It's not just about understanding where she draws the line, it's about showing emotional maturity and building a strong foundation of trust. The Stoic mindset teaches us that true strength comes from self-discipline and respecting others' autonomy. By honoring her boundaries, you're showing that you value her as a person, not just as someone you're trying to win over. Think about it. How would you feel if someone constantly pushed past your limits? It would feel uncomfortable and could even push you away, right? On the other hand, when someone respects your boundaries, it creates a sense of safety and trust. And that's exactly what you should be aiming for when building a meaningful relationship. As the famous philosopher Epictetus once said, freedom is the only goal worth pursuing. This is the ultimate goal of life. Freedom, in this context, means the freedom to be yourself without fear of judgment or pressure from others. Just as you would want the freedom to be who you are, so does she. When you respect her personal space, you're showing that you don't want to control or manipulate her, rather you value her as a unique individual. This builds respect and trust, which are vital ingredients for any lasting relationship. Are you pushing her boundaries, or are you allowing her to feel safe and respected around you? Respecting her boundaries isn't about playing games or forcing a connection. It's about treating her with genuine care and allowing the relationship to evolve naturally. The Stoic happiness that comes from this level of respect is not a fleeting thing. Instead, it's based on a deep understanding and appreciation of one another. When you respect her space and her individuality, you're creating a much stronger bond than any forceful tactic could ever achieve. So take a moment to reflect. Are you truly respecting her boundaries, or are you inadvertently pushing her away by not giving her the space she needs? True happiness in relationships comes from mutual respect and understanding, allowing things to develop at a natural pace. When you respect her and her boundaries, the connection you build will be authentic, strong, and lasting. To wrap up, Remember that a relationship is built on mutual respect, understanding, and personal growth. The friend zone doesn't have to be the end, it's an opportunity for self-reflection and improvement. By enhancing your self-worth, practicing independence, and building your confidence, you'll become someone who is not just seen as a friend, but as a man she truly values. Your worth isn't defined by your job or external circumstances, but by how you perceive and treat yourself. Live with principles, stand firm in your confidence, and always know that you deserve the best. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with those who might benefit, and subscribe to Win Stoic for more content on becoming the modern Stoic. Make sure to turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Keep growing, stay confident, and remember, Win Stoic is here to help you unlock your highest potential.